Despite the hype and how good it might sound on paper, I don't think the upcoming ARK Lost Colony DLC for Ark Survival Ascended is going to solve the game's problems, at least not for me. In fact, I think it looks like Studio Wildcard are doubling down on the exact practices that are pushing me further away from the game. Let's get cracking. Alright Tinkers, I'm Toastbloke, and today we're going to be looking at everything we know so far about the upcoming ARK Lost Colony DLC for Ark Survival Ascended that is dropping later this year. I'm going to share my thoughts about it and even some of my concerns. Before I do though, I do want to make it very clear that I love Ark. It is one of my favourite games ever, and I'm coming from a place of love. I want this game to do well. I want it to be a game I can play and enjoy for many years to come. I'm just a little bit worried that it's not going to be the game I was hoping it was going to be. That being said, there's a lot of positive things to come with this, so we're going to jump in and I'm going to share, like I say, my thoughts on this DLC. Now, as with many ARK news stories, we kick things off in the ARK official Discord under the announcements channel with a post from Zvala talking about this DLC. Featuring cinema-grade anime story sequences created by legendary Japanese studio MAPPA, the makers of Attack on Titan. In this frozen world, following the footsteps of Mei Yin on a soul-searching quest deep into the chilling heart of darkness to find answers to long-buried secrets of Ark's past. Now, this all sounds great. First off, they've brought in a top-notch studio to make cinematics for this game, to tell the story of Mei Yin. Now that makes it sound like there's going to be explorer notes, there normally is on a story map, but when you get them, or maybe when you arrive at areas of interest or do certain tasks, you are going to be seeing an animation from MAPPA to tell the lore of the map. And that is such a cool concept, and it shows a lot of love and care for the DLC. So I'm all for that. That is unreal. We then hear a little bit about what the map's going to be, which is a frozen world, and that we're following the story of Mei Yin. It's going to be really interesting, and we're going to go into the heart of darkness to find answers to the secrets of Ark. And that just sounds great. I couldn't ask for more, really, so I've got no complaints at this point. Then she drops a link to the ARK Lost Colony teaser, which shows off just what MAPPA are capable of, but doesn't really give us anything about the DLC other than things to speculate about. So let's take a look at this together and really break it down. Here we go then.
Do you know what it's like to want someone back with you more than anything?
Never let go.
I do.
And here we have Helena. And this is an in-game engine shot. And it doesn't look like Ark Survival Ascended. More on that a little bit later.
What happened to her?
Sounds like we can hear a conversation between maybe a young girl and Helena.
Leave her
And it
behind.
sounds like Helena is going to console her by sharing a similar experience to what the girl must be going through. Meanwhile, we've switched into the animation by MAPPA. That is a sick shot zooming into the eye like that around the cliffs. And something is coming in for the kill. What? Who knows? I guess we're going to find out. It looks like a demon goat. And she's fighting it. It's a bat demon goat. And she's fighting it with what looks like some sort of tech weapon. Mei Yin here is getting whooped. She really needs to... Hang on. Why is it... It's chewing on her neck. Is it a vampire bat goat demon? What's going on here? Either way, it's really interesting because it is a humanoid. It needs to put that tongue away though. I feel like it's nearly slapped us in the face multiple times. Looks like it's got some incredible power, this being, whatever it is. You need that weapon to get out of there. Come on, girl. Or go for the classic and kick him in the goonies. That works too. Great choice. Hang on, has she just flicked it up in the air with her kneecaps? And this looks very Darth Maul Star Wars Episode 1. I'm liking it. And of course, she rams it down his throat. And then his eyes glisten as if he's enjoying it. What? Well, at least he was, till he got kicked off the cliff there.
To the far side of the earth, into frozen wastes shrouded in endless
This is
night,
interesting.
where a small pocket of humanity managed to survive.
And
the
then look
cataclysm
at that
in a
reveal.
place called Arat Pride.
What is that, a castle, a
What she
cathedral?
found instead.
What? Who was it?
There she found
Look at these moves.
stuff of nightmares.
Hey, that sounds like fun. We're going to be jumping in, find the stuff of nightmares, and I'm guessing fight against it. And here we have the logo reveal. We have seen this already. It was on the Extinction Ascension cinematic at the end of that, alongside other promo stuff. But this looks beautiful. It's great. I love how it looks. I love the red coming through the white of the snow, the blood on the talons. Then we've got the voice talents here that are going to be in the DLC, I'm guessing. And then 3 symbols, which we'll be speaking about a little bit later. But all in all, what do I think of that teaser? I think it looks amazing. It looks so good. There's been a lot of time and effort and money put into it. What do I not like about the trailer? No gameplay. Sorry, teaser. No gameplay. This is really cool. It gives us some hints of what is going to come in the DLC, but we're not actually seeing any of it. And it's not going to be like that. I don't think they're going to add in a mechanic where we can flip around like Mei Yin was. I don't think that beast is going to be behaving quite the same way as it does in the animation. And in that sense, is this really miles better than the Ark Aquatica trailer AI one? It is, because it's not lazy and it's beautifully done. But still, it doesn't feel like we're really seeing what we're going to get. And if I went to a car dealership and went, I'd like to buy a car, and they went, hang on, we'll just go and get out Cars the movie. See this Lightning McQueen guy? Yeah, that's what we're going to be selling you. It's that. I'd be going, stop joking. What does it actually look like? How does it actually drive? You know, Lightning McQueen, as cool as he is, right? He ain't no real car. And I think that's the same kind of thing here. It's got us hyped. It's got us really interested in the DLC, but it's not the same thing as what it's going to look like in game. Now, apart from that, my other concerns are this sounds like it's going to be a dark map. It says Eternal Darkness, and the low lighting in this game has been awful, particularly in Aberration. I couldn't play that because I got headaches from all the grainy lighting and all the pixels and noise, and it just, it wasn't nice. It wasn't a nice experience. So I'm hoping that they get that UE 5.5 engine update out so that can potentially help. I don't think it's going to be as miraculous as people are making out. But if it is, great, or maybe they just do the lighting a little bit better on this map. It's not underground. Hopefully that will help. But let's jump in and break this down because there's some really interesting things going on in this teaser, even if it is not gameplay. Right? Let's check it out.
Do you know
Second time
what it's
through
like
then.
to want someone
So there's
back
a
with
conversation
you
here
more than anything?
between a young person, I think a little girl, and
I
Helena.
loved someone once.
And we're just going to pause here because Helena looks incredible here. She looks stunning. Way better than she looked at the end of Extinction. So much so that we are led to believe, and people are speculating, that this is done in the Ark 2 engine. And if so, and she is in the Ark 2 environment, does this mean that Helena is actually alive after the events of Genesis 1 and 2? Because it makes sense. It would be the correct order in regards to the lore of Ark. Now again, like I say, it sounds like a young person talking to Helena, and it's given us that feeling that we had with Uncle Bob in Bob's Tall Tales, how he was telling stories to his niece. Could it be the same character? I'm not an Ark lore nerd, so I don't know enough. Maybe I need to get into that a little bit more so I can be a little bit more informative in these situations. But still, it's really interesting because this could potentially add whole new storylines and change things as to what we thought they might have been completely, which is really exciting.
Very much.
But that, she looks great there.
What
yet-
happened to her?
We've all gone through that, right? Listen to somebody.
I had to leave her behind.
Now, I don't think she's talking about a friend Mei Yin here, although she might be. You know, she's already done this once already, had to leave somebody behind, right? It's how she ended up in the Ark in the first place. But yeah, this guy comes in here, he's absolutely raging. Now, this hints at potential NPC-style characters or creatures in the game. It looks like nothing we've seen so far, except maybe there's Mortis, but that doesn't really count. But this feels like it's going to be a more intelligent, more thoughtful, and intentional being that comes for you. And I feel like, based on other things we're going to look at, it could be unlike anything we've seen in Ark, mechanics-wise. and potentially a practice for Ark 2 with the NPC stuff, the one to add to that game. Now, I'm intrigued, will we be able to tame this? I doubt it, but if we could, maybe we could put it to work at our bases like we can with Pals in Pal World or something. Would be really interesting. Again, this is all just showboating. It's Mappa doing the anime thing and it looks sick, but it's not a reflection of what Ark Survival Ascended gameplay is like. And then she's got this new tech lance, it would seem, which is a hint at a weapon that could be coming with the game as well.
To the far side of the earth, into frozen wastes shrouded in endless night, where a small
this
pocket
here,
of humanity managed to survive the long cataclysm.
This here is key. Helena says that Mei Yin travelled to the other side of Earth following the events of extinction and found a place where humans survived. Now this is mad because that means on this map there are going to be civilizations, or at least pockets and areas where there are NPCs, where there are humans who inhabit the map. Unreal. Again, talking about the eternal darkness, you can see the moon there shining through. We've got some really, really interesting looking structures. It looks like a city with a cathedral at the head of it. And with all the little lights down below, it makes it feel like there's either a crowd there or there's a lot of hustle and bustle. We've then got all these structures around here that could be like the city wall. And then on top of that, these feel a little bit like watchtowers with searchlights, or there could be some sort of vehicle, who knows? There's all sorts of interesting things in this shot that we can speculate about for days, but it looks very, very interesting. And then Helena goes on to say that this place is called Arat Prime. I've been calling it Arat Prime. It's a bit of a Hermione Granger situation. Arat Prime? No, it's Arat Prime. But, you know, I'll probably stick to what I've been calling it, eh?
In a place called Arat Prime.
Arat.
But what she
It's a
found
rat, not a
instead,
rat. She says a rat.
What was
It's
it?
all good.
there she found the stuff of nightmares.
What am I on about? And like I say, very exciting, seems very interesting. The concept seems great. The things that have been hinted at in this teaser have got me pumped. The only issue is we're not seeing how they're going to translate to the game. And I guess that's where part of my concerns come into play. Again, here we've got the voice actors, which is really interesting to see. And then these three icons, which, if we take a quick look at them, to me, later on, we're going to find out that there are factions in the game. I think the factions are going to be NPC factions. All speculation, like I say. And I feel like these are the icons, or let's say the badges of each of those factions. So I think that's going to be interesting to see. This looks like it could represent that demon bat goat vampire creature that was knocking about. This looks very much like, ooh, we like Element, and here's some Rockwell glasses. So this could be something to do with followers of Rockwell. And we know that URE is the company that built the Arks. So I think there's going to be three different factions, probably factions that are competing, and maybe we're going to be able to choose to fight them or get involved with them, or maybe there's certain ones that you have to get rid of and support others. Who knows? But it's, like I say, it's not anything we've seen in Ark prior to this point. Anyway, that was quite a positive start for this video, so I'm glad about that. There's a lot of good to take from what we've seen so far about this DLC, but there is still negativity knocking about. I've been feeling it ever since ASA came out and they changed their DLC practices and the way they implement them into the game, and I'm hoping that things aren't going to be how I think they're going to be. But we're going to crack on, because they then dropped a community crunch telling us about pre-orders for ARK Lost Colony. So if we head over there now and we just scroll down, you can see here we have got the artwork for the DLC, and it's just a screenshot almost that has been taken from the Mappa animated teaser, or at least it looks identical to where I pretty much paused the teaser. We've got the castle, the cathedral, the city, whatever's going on here. Mei Yin down there with a special tech lance looking thing. And then the logo front and center, which looks incredible. It's such a good logo. And underneath, the pre-order date of the 6th of the 2nd, 25. Now, as an Englishman, that was massively confusing because we switch the month and the day. We do it the proper way around, right? So it's the 2nd of the 6th, 25. So that's the 2nd of June. You will be able to pre-order ARK Lost Colony. Now, that's quite a way away. And the reason I think they decided to announce this now is because of the absolute mess that was the ARK Aquatica DLC launch or announcement and trailers. And I think they're just going, we need to make ARK look good again. We need to chuck something out there. Let's get this announced nice and early so people can expect something good from us and see what we're really doing with the game. Forget about that, hopefully. Get that on the back burner. Let's do it as soon as possible. So they've announced the pre-order we can't do for a few months. And then it's even longer before you can actually get your hands on the DLC. We'll be finding that out in just a moment. For now, though, let's scroll down and read what the guys have to say at Wildcard about Lost Colony. So, under the teaser, we can see ARK Lost Colony is a full-sized canonical expansion pack featuring a new map, creatures, items, structures, and the continuation of the story of ARK. I read this, I was over the moon. I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want. This is how they used to do DLC in ARK Survival Evolved. And the only gripe I ever had with that was that the things you got in future maps were backwards transferable to old ones. So you could take things from Genesis to the island. I don't think that should ever have been allowed. By allowing people to bring things from future maps back to the earlier maps, it would always ruin the balance and spoil that experience and kind of kill that map's identity, because they did a great job with all of the maps of making them feel very unique and having their own unique creatures and balancing it out, and a new map would always just ruin everything else. You know, forwards transferable only fixes that. But now there's a lot more going on that's problematic in my eyes. But this at least made me think there's a chance. But then I read on. Lost Colony drops you into a massive occupied city packed with dangers as you become the hunted and gain access to powerful new kinds of character abilities, unique gear, building systems, and exotic tames. Wow. We are going to get dropped in to a city that is occupied. Confirmation there of NPCs, and you're not starting on a beach. You're not starting in the middle of nowhere. You are starting in a city. It makes it sound like there's only this one city you're allowed to spawn into or start in. That'll be very strange, because normally there's points all over the map. There might still be, but they're saying you spawn in to a city. So this is a very different take on things. It then says you're going to get the access to the powerful character abilities, unique gear, building systems, and exotic tames. And I didn't read too much into that the first time, because that always kind of happens with DLC. But we're going to find out that they mean a lot more than what I assumed from this when I read it. The epic new story of ARK Lost Colony bridges the gap from ARK Extinction to ARK Genesis and into the world of ARK 2. That is unreal. We need that. We want the story to have a strong thread tying all of the maps, all of the DLCs together, and just really solidifying the lore of the game. So this is awesome. Will survivors be able to face down the evil lurking in Iraq Prime and connect ARK's past and future? I sure hope so. So to me, this all sounded great, and I was very happy, like I say. There was a few things I was like, I wonder what that means. And we're going to find out when we look at the Steam page of the DLC. But besides that, we are told ARK Lost Colony becomes available for pre-order on the 2nd of June 25. And all purchases will immediately unlock exclusive Lost Colony preview gameplay content. Now, this is the first thing that sent the alarm bells ringing for me. I've just spoke about how DLC was done in ARK Survival Evolved, and it's not the same with ARK Survival Ascended. They've been bringing DLCs out like Fantastic Tames, where it's a creature, where it's on people's maps, but they can't use them unless they pay and buy the DLC. Things are behind paywalls. It's the same with Bob's Tall Tales. There's dinosaur traits, and your dinosaurs have traits if you don't have the DLC, but you can't fully use them if you don't have the dino scanner that you get from getting Bob's Tall Tales DLC. And there's just a million examples where everything is in the game, on the map. It's all in front of your face going, Do you want this? Do you want this? You need to buy this to get a good experience, to be able to keep up with other people, to be able to compete. And I think it's shocking. I think it's disgusting. At least in the past, it was just kept on the one map and it was kind of out of sight most of the time if you wanted it to be, and didn't really affect you too much. So when they're saying that all purchases of the pre-order will immediately unlock exclusive Lost Colony preview gameplay content, I got a little bit worried. Because they aren't going to be keeping the mechanics and things that are going to come with this DLC just within this DLC. Now, at first I thought the preview gameplay content might be some skins. I thought maybe it could be a video where they're going to show gameplay to people who have got the pre-order, but that's not going to help sales. Surely they want to show everybody what it's going to look like to encourage them to buy it. And so it made me think, are some of the mechanics that are coming with the DLC going to be given to people who pre-order and that they can use them and access and preview them on other maps, like the island, like Scorched Earth, like Aberration? And in that sense, that means all of those maps are going to change. There's going to be even more pay to win on them. And I just think it is a disgusting practice that really puts me off the game. I'm hoping that I'm wrong here, but it just seems to confirm that Wildcard are going to continue running DLCs through Ark Survival Ascended and putting them in your face, but out of reach unless you pay for them. And I really don't like that. With the full release in November 25, Ark Lost Colony will be priced at $29.99 USD for Xbox Series X, S, PlayStation 5, and PC platforms. Now, some people are being upset with this. I'm not massively upset with this. Yes, $30 is quite a lot of money for a DLC, but it does truly sound like they're going above and beyond with this. You're getting the full map as usual. You're getting tames. You are getting your creatures, your items, your structures. You're also getting the mapper animations. And we're going to find out that you're getting even more than that. Even more overpowered pay-to-win things. So $30 doesn't seem unreasonable. Is it high? It is, especially if you just bought the game. And the fact that they're putting things in DLCs and paid mods in the game every other week that they're expecting you to buy, it does feel a little bit ridiculous. Like, this game is just monetized to the hills and back. Like, it's way too much monetization going on with it. But still, it's probably quite a good proposition value. Do I want to spend that much on this DLC? Not really. I'm probably going to have to if I want to play it. But I'll have to decide that when I learn more about it and if I want to play it. But I could buy a whole different game for $30. You know, there's a lot of good games you can get for less than $30. You could probably sink as much, if not more, time into, especially when things go on sale on Steam, for example. Now then, I've already spoken and mentioned that I'm a little bit worried about how this will be implemented. And this is where it gets worse. It's going to get worse from here. We're going to head over to the Steam page. And a lot of this is just repeated. And it's the same in the description of the teaser. But I feel like the Steam page really kind of gives us the best rundown of what they're going to be bringing with the DLC. So if we head over to the store page for DLCs here, we got Ark Lost Colony at the top. So I'll just click that and we'll have a little look and see what's happening. Now we get the teaser here again. We've got some screenshots. There is Helena potentially in the Ark 2 engine, or at least in the Ark 2 world. We then got this beautiful shot of what we reckon is going to be a city in the game, Mei Yin, and so forth. It looks great. It's really cool, but there's no gameplay shots still. We need those ASAP, right? This is what it says, though, about the DLC on Steam. Confront the demons of Arat Prime, birthplace of the Arks, in ASA's first massive canonical expansion pack, Ark Lost Colony. Starring Michelle Yeoh as Mei Yin in cinematic anime sequences by legendary Japanese studio Mappa. The epic new story of Ark Lost Colony bridges the gap from Ark Extinction to Ark Genesis and into the world of Ark 2. So like I say, nothing new there. We've gone over that already. As you follow in Mei Yin's footsteps through an intense journey into the heart of darkness, you'll unlock powerful lost character ability trees, befriend exotic tames, craft cursed tiers of gear, and master advanced new building systems. And this is where my heart sank. It goes into a little bit more detail in this section about what it mentioned in the crunch. And we're finding that if you pay for this DLC, that you are going to get powerful, they're not even hiding the fact that it's OP pay to win, powerful lost character ability trees. Now, if you don't know what an ability tree is, in a game, you can get ability trees and you use these to give your character perks or bonuses or special abilities. And you can model your character and shape your character to perform in a specific or certain way. Now, that to me is a base game mechanic. If that is not in the base game, and people who don't buy this DLC can't use it, but these gameplay mechanics are put throughout the game, or let's say even in your inventory, or you go into your UI and you can see a section where it says ability tree, but you click on it and you can't use it because you don't have the DLC, that is going to be disgusting. I think it would put new players off. I think it's going to put old players off. I know there'll be people who'll be like, yay, new content, great, I love it, I don't care, I'm buying it, and I've got it, so I'm happy. But there's more people than those people who play Ark. And you've got to think about the whole community. You've got to think about everybody, right? Particularly new players. And I just think this, if it is going to be across other maps and not just contained within Lost Colony, and if it is going to be there in front of your face all of the time, but you can't use it unless you buy the DLC, I'm going to be massively disappointed with Studio Wildcard on this. Now, I'm hoping that isn't the case, because I think that would be an absolute mess. But when they've said about preview gameplay content, I'm worried that it's things like this that you'll be able to preview prior to the actual DLC coming out. And if so, that means it is going to be coded into the whole game as if it's base game, but kept behind a paywall. Now, the other thing that hints at this is the way things have gone with Bob's Tall Tales. They added dinosaur traits or creature traits into the game, as I've mentioned already. They then added weapon traits into the game. So what difference is it for them now to go, well, let's add character traits? And that's essentially what I think these ability trees are going to be. They're going to be character traits, so that people with DLCs can have more powerful dinos, more powerful weapons, and more powerful characters. And I think that goes well beyond just better items and different teams. And it reeks in my eyes, at least. They then go on to say you can get exotic teams, and we've had that before. That's nothing new. That used to happen in ASE, I think, unless they mean something different by that. And then it says craft cursed tiers of gear. So there's going to be different tiers of gear that you can access if you have the DLC, but not if you're in base game. Does this mean you can make normal gear better by making it cursed? If so, that doesn't seem right in my eyes. Or does it mean there's going to be a whole new tier, which is a powerful tier that you can use if you've got the DLC, but other people can't if they don't? Again, it doesn't sit well with us. But then this one blows my mind. Master advanced new building systems. Building systems. They're not talking about just structures here, like it said in the community crunch. There's going to be advanced building systems. Now again, I can't say how OP that'll be or how much that'll affect the game until I see it. If this is the case, it's just going to create a massive gulf between base game players and players with the DLC, because they will be having those advantages, those OP features from the DLC on maps where they do not belong, where other players on the maps cannot have them. And I think that gulf sometimes, and that feeling of not being able to keep up or catch up, can be really off-putting in a game, because it just seems so unfair. So I really hope this isn't the case. It then goes on to say, but beware, the frozen wastes of Iraq Prime are not devoid of intelligent life. That means there are intelligent NPCs. On the contrary, the city has become a war-torn battleground between twisted, element-powered factions seeking to undo what was accomplished at the end of Ark Extinction. So there we go. Factions. That means there's more than one. We had those 3 icons or badges at the end of the trailer or teaser. I think that's what they are. I think there's 3 factions. I think they represent different things. I think one's the Bat people. I think one is the people who made the Arks. And I think one has something to do with Rockwell. And it would also explain why the Bat, vampire, goat, creature, demon seem to have certain powers if it is element infused powers. So very interesting. That's going to be a completely different take. We're going to be spawning into a city that is populated. I'd imagine it would have to be a friendly city. Otherwise, you're going to be getting ripped to shreds when you spawn in. So I think there was one that is potentially on our side. Maybe the URE. That's what I would imagine at least. And then those factions are at war against each other. And I wonder if we have to try and bring down the other factions, which is a mad change in gameplay for an Ark DLC. And again, I think a practice for the devs to get everything working and test it out with us for Ark 2's release. Together with generations of heroes, you'll unite the past and the future of Ark. So yeah, all in all, I think there is a lot of positives to come with this DLC, a lot of interesting content that I'm really excited and interested in checking out. But it's going to come down to how it is implemented throughout the game for me. If the ability trees, the cursed tiers, and the advanced building is just limited and locked in to ARK Lost Colony's map, awesome, I will have 0 complaints. But if I'm going to be playing on the island and I'm going to have my menu popping up showing us that I can have abilities but I'm not allowed them, just like I can see traits on dinos when I can't use them and things like that, I will be getting really annoyed. If somebody is going to be coming from Lost Colony, from Iraq Prime, and showing up on Scorched Earth with advanced building and cursed tiers of items that I can't keep up with or compete with, I'm not going to be happy about that either, because it ruins that map and the identity of that map. And I think identity in a game, especially one where you want to immerse yourself in the world, is really, really key. So yeah, that's my concern. How are they going to implement it? And all the hints and everything we've seen so far with Ark Survival Ascended would suggest that it's going to be stuck in the game, potentially from pre-order points for people to preview throughout all of the maps, behind a paywall that you can't access unless you pre-order or then purchase the DLC. And I think that's awful, because to me, a character ability tree should be base game. And so should the advanced building systems. And they could easily do it when the map comes out, when they release the DLC. They could drop that to base game so everybody gets it. And they should. It's still enough to charge for the DLC if you just get the map, if you just get the special teams, if you get to play in the cities with NPCs. This is really cool and exciting stuff, and they really do not need to lock certain things behind paywalls that should be just part of the game. If you're going to add that to the game, make it base game. If you think it's going to improve Ark, improve the game as a whole. You will get more people coming to play the game because the game has cool new systems and functions so much better and is way more interesting and feels a little bit more updated, if I'm going to be real with you. People are going to want that. People are going to come to the game for that. Maybe players will come back to the game for that. But when it's behind a paywall, it's an extra barrier, and it makes people go, not this again. And that's how I'm starting to feel with Ark Survival Ascended. And it's sad, because I feel like there's so much good in Ark Survival Ascended. I don't feel like I can go back to Ark Survival Evolved now, right? But I'm also not enjoying playing Ark Survival Ascended when I'm having paid content constantly rammed down my throat and content that kills the game's identity, in my opinion. But I just wish they would take into very careful consideration the way they implement the DLCs into the game. So yeah, like I say, we know what's coming. A cool new DLC where you start in a city where there's competing factions of NPCs that are intelligent. There's some crazy bat, goat, demon, vampire creature. There's some new weapons coming. We're going to get a brand new advanced building system. We're going to be getting character ability trees, essentially, I'd say it's traits for characters. All sorts of really cool things. But it needs to be implemented correctly. Like I say, I've got these concerns. it's all speculation at the end of the day. I could be way off the mark, and I hope that I am. I hope that this goes back to being a lot more like DLCs were in Ark Survival Evolved. In conclusion though, I am excited for this. I can still have fun with this, even if it's in single player or on my own server. I'll be able to play this and I'll be able to make sure that I stay on this map and everything from this map just is a fun time within that map, and that's fine. But I do worry about playing on official, whether that's PvP or PvE, because the game is just, it's going to change. It's going to change a lot with this, and I don't think for the better. I'm already annoyed. I just don't like having traits on me dinos, right? I don't want them there. Stop doing silly things like that. That's what this comes down to. No, but seriously, I don't think you should be having things available and shoving them in people's faces and going, you can't have it though unless you pay. I don't think that is good practice at all. So I'm hoping that's not the case. But at the end of the day, I don't think this is the end of the world for the game. You can still have fun with this in single player. You can still have fun with this in your own servers. And you're not going to have all of that negative effect that you might have if you're playing on official, whether that's PvP or PvE. You know, you still compete technically or play alongside other people at the end of the day. And other people having other things gives them a big advantage over you and your progression and leaves you feeling behind at the very least. But still, lots of good in this, lots of exciting things with this, and I'm very interested in seeing what's to come. I would love to know what you think about it, so please drop your thoughts in the comments below. But I am going to call that there, guys. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this interesting, maybe even informative. If so, please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. It really does help, and I'm super grateful for all of your support. But until next time, you guys take care, and we'll catch you later. Cheerio.